John, how about a very short poem for today?
Okay, we're going to start with a Langston Hughes poem for today. Folks, I'm telling you, birthing is hard and dying is mean, so get yourself a little lovin' in between. Today's poem comes from Ogden Nash. It's called Everybody Tells Me Everything. I find it very difficult to enthuse over the current news. Just when you think that at least the outlook is so black that it can grow no blacker, it worsens. And this is why I do not like the news, because there has never been an era when so many things were going so right for so many of the wrong persons. A poem, Hank, that reminds us that the news exhausted and outraged us even before the men and women of cable began yelling at us and at each other. Anyway, this poem is by Mary Oliver from her wonderful book, 1,000 Mornings. It's called I Go Down to the Shore. I go down to the shore in the morning, and depending on the hour, the waves are rolling in or moving out, and I say, oh, I am miserable. What should I do? And the sea says, in its lovely voice, excuse me, I have work to do. This is a poem by Walt Whitman. It's designed to make Hank angry, and it's called When I Heard the Learned Astronomer. When I heard the learned astronomer, when the proofs, the figures were ranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them, when I, sitting, heard the astronomer where he lectured with much applause in the lecture room, how soon unaccountable I became tired and sick, till rising and gliding out, I wandered off by myself in the mystical moist night air, and from time to time looked up in perfect silence at the stars.
Here is a short poem for you. Blue jean baby, L.A. lady, seamstress for the band, pretty-eyed pirate smile, you'll marry a music man. Ballerina, you must have seen her, dancing in the sand. And now she's in me, always with me, tiny dancer in my hand.
Daniel, my brother, you are older than me. Do you still feel the pain of the scars that won't heal? Your eyes have died, but you see more than I. Daniel, you're a star in the face of the sky.
Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids.
In fact, it's cold as hell.
And there's no one there to raise them if you did.
And all this science, I don't understand.
It's just my job 5 days a week.
A rocket man. A rocket man.
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time.
Levon sells cartoon balloons in town. His family business thrives. Jesus blows up balloons all day, sits on the porch swing watching them fly. And Jesus, he wants to go to Venus, leaving Levon far behind, take a balloon and go sailing while Levon slowly dies.
A couple of the sounds that I really like are the sounds of a switchblade and a motorbike. I'm a juvenile product of the working class whose best friend floats in the bottom of a glass.
Speaking of sunsets, last night's was shocking. I mean, sunsets aren't supposed to frighten you, are they? Well, this one was terrifying. People were screaming in the streets. Sure, it was beautiful, but far too beautiful. It wasn't natural. One climax followed another and then another until your knees went weak and you couldn't breathe. The colors were definitely not of this world. Peaches dripping opium, pandemonium of tangerines, inferno of irises, plutonian emeralds, all swirling and churning, swabbing like it was playing with us, like we were nothing, as if our whole lives were a preparation for this for which nothing could have prepared us, and for which we could not have been less prepared. The mockery of it all stung us bitterly, and when it was finally over, we whimpered and cried and howled. And then the streetlights came on as always, and we looked into one another's eyes, ancient caves with still pools, and those little transparent fish who have never seen even one ray of light, and the calm that returned to us was not even our own. Here dead lie we because we did not choose to live and shame the land from which we sprung. Life, to be sure, is nothing much to lose, but young men think it is, and we were young. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased, with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. I love this poem, but I also don't know what it means. And I've loved it for a long time, and I've felt torn in two directions about it for the longest time, because one of the things that's interesting about Dickinson's poetry is the sort of waxing and waning relationship that she has with religious faith and with the idea of the soul. And I feel in this poem there is both the waxing and the waning. And I can handle one poem waxing and another waning, but I'm not sure that I can handle waxing and waning within the same poem. But I love that line, tell all the truth, but tell it slant. I think it is a really, really good piece of advice when it comes to telling stories and also when it comes to writing. So you fit into me like a hook into an eye, a fish hook, an open eye. I've always liked that poem because there's so much you complete me and you fit into me and we complement each other. Poetry out there that she sets your expectations up pretty carefully, and you're just picturing this, this needle and this thread, and then you're not. He requested this poem, "The World Is Too Much With Us" by William Wordsworth. Great British romantic poet, William Wordsworth, and this is a great example of his poetry. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. The sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. It moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. William Wordsworth, expressing concern about our relationship with nature and our obsession with consumer goods way back in like 1808. This poem is called "This Is Just to Say" by William Carlos Williams. I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me. They were delicious, so sweet and so cold.
And as they say in our hometown, don't forget to be awesome.